You turned 8. Oh, goodness. Can you hear me now? The microphone's working. Oh, so exciting. Okay. Is that good? Sound good? Check, check. Excellent. All right. Um,
Good morning. My name is Tess Derringer, and I co-chair the Leadership Development Committee with Patrick Horton. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whether you carry joy or sorrow in your heart, you are welcome here. All people of goodwill are warmly invited to join us on the great journey of the mind, the heart, and the spirit. If this is your first time with us today, please let the offering basket pass you by. Your presence is gift enough. We hope you will join us for coffee and conversation in the community room after the service. We would love to get to know you and answer any questions you have. You can visit the information table next to the exit from the community room as well. On the first and third Sundays of the month, the offering at First Unitarian is donated to an organization from the Denver community that has been chosen by our Giving and Action team. All cash and checks will be donated in full unless otherwise designated. We will learn about the organization chosen for today's offering later in the service. This Sunday, Leadership Development is kicking off an informational, very formal campaign to acquaint you with the many opportunities for elected service in the church year beginning on July 1st. At present, we have 14 open positions. Most positions are 3-year terms. On the second and fourth Sundays from now until mid-April, you'll be hearing from these elected committees about what they do, what they love about their work, and the time commitment required. Each committee will be represented then at the opportunities table after the service. We'll start today with Leadership Development, or LDC. Our members are Patrick and me, Patrick Caldwell, Corey Dever, and Sandy Parker. We have 2 openings in the next church year. LDC has 2 responsibilities: identify and nominate candidates for open positions on the 7 elected committees and the Board of Trustees, and develop leadership through identifying and supporting new and potential leaders through ongoing development and training. This church year, we will hold a total of 4 trainings. We completed Yes and collaboration in October. We have trainings scheduled for our January 26th and February 9th following Sunday service on facilitating collaborative discussion, managing conflict, and team building, and a final training on facilitating effective meetings later in the spring. Everyone is welcome. A link will be available soon and first announced to RSVP. We love what we do because we interact with excited, curious, committed, and or soon-to-be committed members who want to form a vibrant team in helping lead our congregationally run community. Our work is our social action, our shared ministry, and our commitment to UU principles. LDC has scheduled monthly meetings, staffs the opportunities table on Sundays, and has additional hours from January through mid-April contacting and responding to potential candidates. If you love to meet and work with engaged people, support those who are dedicated to our community, and be part of a positive team focused on innovation, please consider joining us. You can visit me at the opportunities table at the back of the community room after the service to find out more about LDC and the many other opportunities that would welcome helping hands. We would love to match you with an opportunity that interests you. Now, Arnie Carter just has a few words.
Just wanted to quickly announce we're real proud that Middle East Justice Project is going to bring Miko Palad to the congregation via Zoom. He's kind of a big deal. He's an Israeli-American, probably one of the clearest voices on Israel and Palestine. It's going to be right here Tuesday night at 6:30. Thank you.
Thanks, Arnie. Now, please remember to silence your cell phone and other electronic devices. Welcome to worship. At this time, please take a moment to the people sitting around you.
whoever you are and wherever you are welcome here. Please join in singing our welcome song with me and Eliza.
We are many, we are one. The light of the world is within you. Sacred and worthy is your soul. A place has been made for you.
Welcome.
Good morning. Our call to worship today has been lightly adapted from Shared Yadav. Here are a handful of reasons, dear friends, to consider joining a church. 1. To join a church is to commit to a social circle you do not get to choose, and who can therefore show you whether your spirituality is BS or not. Number 2, joining a church is a way of practicing among a small group of people over a significant period of time what you'd like the world to be like. 3, to join a church is to live in rebellion against the neoliberal and capitalist forces which are brainwashing you into making your consumer desire the center of the world, reducing all your experiences of the world, including all the people in it, to instruments and resources. 4, joining a church is to organize your life around a time to confess your limitations, culpability, and imperfections together with other people so that you can get used to receiving divine forgiveness and hope in response to your honesty. 5, to join a church is to resist all traditional loyalties to state, party, culture, family, or affinity, and an act of loyalty to a group that transcends all natural categories. 6, joining a church organizes your financial priorities around supporting an inclusive community for vulnerable people that you actually have to live with. 7, to join a church is to cultivate an environment unlike your home, work, or play, where your life is not measured according to any other purpose or goal than to discover and enjoy your own humanity. 8, joining a church is a way of maintaining healthy skepticism about human knowledge and capacities in the language of divine mystery. 9, to join a church is to cultivate an imagination for how your unique talents and creative potential can be offered on purpose for love instead of money. 10, joining a church is a life lesson in how to deal with difficult people without retaliating, dehumanizing, or running away in the desperate hope of not becoming a difficult person. Again, welcome.
Please stand in body or in spirit and join us in singing Come, Come, Whoever You Are in your gray hymnal, or just look up at the screen. Come, come, whoever you are, wander, worshiper, lover of believing, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. One more. Come, come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come.
The young and young at heart, my favorite people, come on down. All right, if you're on this side, you can see better because I always hold my book over here. Yeah, I'm right-handed. So seeing the pictures, it's better over here. All right, friends. So I'm going to share the book and then share a little bit about what we're going to do today. Welcome. So glad you're here. All right, it's called Be Who You Are by Todd Parr. He writes a lot of great books, and his pictures, if you've ever read his book, are always like this, very simple, very colorful, very beautiful. It says, be old, be young, be a different color. Wear everything you need to be you. Look at all these pictures. They're all being very creative in how they dress. Some of you are creative in how you dress, too. Speak your language. Hola. Hello. Meow. Learn in your own way. So here's a cat. It says cat, and this says dog, and there are question marks. What is the cat doing? Kind of experimenting. I wonder how dog food tastes. Yeah, just check it out. Be proud of where you're from. We all come from different kinds of homes and places. Be your own family. What is this a family of? Aliens. Maybe aliens have families too. Just be who you are. Be silly. Be brave. Why does the fishy need to be brave? Facing a shark, that would be very scary. Dance. Play. Learn. Discover. Read. Share your feelings. Maybe it's happy, mad, sad, silly, scared, proud. That's silly, isn't it? He's wearing a crown. Just be who you are. There's an exclamation mark. Very exciting to be who you are. Try new things. It says eat tacos, pizza, noodles. Look at the birds. They have question marks. Wonder what this is. Be confident. Stand up for yourself. The mouse is saying no. Do you think that works for a mouse? Maybe. Be energetic. Be peaceful. Sometimes we're both of those things, right? Be the best you can be. Just be who you are. And at the end, he always leaves a little note for us to read, the author. It says, it doesn't matter what color you are, where you are from, or who's in your family. Everyone needs to be loved. Always love yourself and be who you are. The end. Love, Todd. Yeah. So today, we are going to think about a word that we want to really keep in our hearts for the year 2025. So I did some reflecting, and my word is grateful. So I wrote my name, and I said, Miss Leslie is grateful in 2025. So some of the things I'm grateful for, the sun shining, my son Logan, my home, the mountains, our church. I tried to draw have you been upstairs in the chapel? It's like a stained glass window. And my dog Leroy. You've seen it from outside. It's beautiful, right?
I always go by it on the bus, and when I was in ECE, I used to always see it on the bus when
Yes, sometimes we see that beautiful window from the bus. I love it. All right, my friends, we are going to think about what is a word we want to live and really remember in 2025. That's called an intention. Are you ready to go through our tunnel and go to class?
Yeah.
Vámonos! Hi.
My name is Molly Prince, and I'm on the Giving and Action Committee here at First Unitarian. I am so pleased to introduce you to Kathleen Phillips with Closed to Kids. I'd like to lift up a line from the paragraph Closed to Kids submitted to our newsletter that I keep thinking about. The students who shop at Closed to Kids are experiencing some of the most difficult circumstances imaginable: poverty, homelessness, displacement, and home removal. Yet thousands of these children and youth have left our boutique beaming with pride, excited to wear their newly selected clothes and shoes to school. Kathleen will be here after the service for coffee hour if you would like to connect with her. Here she is to tell you more.
Thank you so much, Molly, and thank you all for having me here. As Molly said, my name is Kathleen Phillips, and I'm the Executive Director at Closed to Kids of Denver. Closed to Kids of Denver is a nonprofit that provides new and quality used clothing to students from low-income or in-crisis families in the 11-county Denver metro area, free of charge, and that's the key. Denver area students ages 3 to 21 can come shop for a week's worth of clothing, about 21 core wardrobe items, in our store, which is located on South Colorado Boulevard in between Yale and Hamden, and they can shop every 4 months. We recently heard a story from a school social worker that a student did not attend school one day because they had to wash the only school outfit they had. And we have found this to be true for many of the newcomers who've just arrived in Denver and for many other families experiencing extreme poverty. By providing a week's worth of clothes, we hope to remove barriers like this so that kids are able to attend school, feel good about themselves, are ready to learn, and prepared to thrive. Most of our clothing is donated by families cleaning out their closets, from schools and organizations holding clothing drives, and from local manufacturers who are looking to get rid of their excess backstock. However, we use monetary donations to provide 5 new pair of underwear and 5 new pair of socks to each shopper, and also to purchase clearance items to fill areas where we lack donations, like shoes and little boys' pants. Closed to Kids of Denver has been serving Denver area students since 2008, and to date, we've provided more than 118,000 wardrobes, which equals about 2.5 million pieces of clothing. Last year, and we just finalized our numbers, we hit a record high of more than 14,000 wardrobes provided to students, which is 10% more than what we provided in 2023, which was already up from 17% from what we provided in 2022. What those numbers tell us is that the clothing need in our community is real, the need is continuing, and we continue to need support from organizations like yours in order to serve these students. I'd like to close by reading a thank you letter that we received a few weeks ago because I think it aptly captures the impact of Closed to Kids work. I am always grateful when I come with my children to shop. You always wipe my tears. Because of the clothing we receive, we can pay our bills, since we don't have to worry about clothes. I want to express that even if every flower in the world had a voice, I could not send as many as it would take to say thanks enough. There is a quote from Marianne Williamson which says, "Gratitude is an opening of locked up blessings." With a grateful heart, I want to say thank you so very much. You are a lifesaver. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak here today. We're so grateful to have been selected as your Giving in Action plate collection beneficiary. As Molly mentioned, I'll be in the foyer afterwards and would be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you again.
You keep telling me to climb this ladder. I've got to pay my dues. But as I rise, the stakes get higher. I've got the capitalist blues. And when I give everything, I won't have much more to lose. I am swimming in an ocean of sharks. They are telling me how I'm gonna make my little mark in this cold, cold world. It can be such a cold, cold world. You keep telling me to go a little higher. Try to take a different view. But you can see I'm not inspired. I got the capitalist blues. And if I give everything, I won't have much to lose. It's not fair, it's not right. I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life. It's not fair, it's not right. I wasn't born to just endure all this strife. Trying to make my way in this cold, cold world. It can be such a cold, cold world.
Good morning, First Unitarian. Happy New Year to you. A couple things I wanted to let you know about. First and foremost, I want to make sure that you know next Sunday after church, we're going to have a congregational meeting. You all know about that? No? Well, you do now. So I want you to come because there's only one item on the agenda. It should be a really short meeting, and that one item is, well, first I guess I got to give you just a little bit of background. In the Unitarian Universalist tradition, to be ordained as a minister, there's only one way that happens, and that is by a vote of a local congregation. We call it congregational polity. You are in charge of that particular sacrament in our tradition. There's no hierarchy, there's no, conflagration of other ministers or authorities that can ordain someone into the ministry. Only the local congregation can do that. And next Sunday, you are going to have the opportunity to vote to ordain Leah Davis as a minister of music. So I want you to come to that meeting. We need a quorum to make that happen, and then the actual ceremony will take place sometime in April 19th, I believe, 19th. So anyway, I want to let you know, make sure that's on your radar screen. I want to make sure you come to that. If you don't know, Leah's been with us for 17 and a half years. And she has been doing amazing work that entire time, extending the ministry of this congregation with amazing music. She is creative and hardworking and a joy to work with. And this is just one way we can affirm her work with us. So that's on your radar screen now. Don't tell me I didn't tell you. I want to offer these words as a prayer today. This was written by the brilliant Amanda Gorman. May this be the day we come together. Mourning, we come to mend. Withered, we come to weather. Torn, we come to tend. Battered, we come to better. Tethered by this year of yearning, we are learning that though we weren't ready for this, we have been readied by it. We steadily vow that no matter how we are weighed down, we must always pave a way forward. This hope is our door, our portal. Even if we never get back to normal, someday we can venture beyond it, to leave the known and take the first steps. So let us not return to what was normal, but reach toward what is next. What was cursed, we will cure. What was plagued, we will prove true. Where we tend to argue, we will try to agree. Whose fortunes we forswore, now the future we foresee. Where we weren't aware, we're now awake. Those moments we missed, and now these moments we make. The moments we meet, and our hearts once altogether beaten, now altogether beat. Come, look up with kindness yet, for even solace can be sourced from sorrow, but remember not just for the sake of yesterday, but to take on tomorrow. We heed this old spirit. In a new day's lyric, in our hearts we hear it. For auld lang syne, my dear, for auld lang syne, be bold, sang this time of year. Be bold, sang time. For when you honor yesterday, tomorrow you will find. Know what we've fought need not be forgot, nor for none it defines us, binds us as one. Come over, join this day just begun, for wherever we come together, we will forever overcome.
Touched the mirror, broke the surface of the water, saw my true self, all illusion shattered. And it's only paper, only ink. We'll destroy ourselves if we can't agree. How the world turns, who made the sun, who owns the sea. The world we know will fall piece by piece. Made myself holy, heart and body underdone, stripped down solely to the evil and the good. Felt no shame, naked to the world, and all illusion shattered. Money's only paper, only ink. We'll destroy ourselves if we can't agree. How the world turns, who made the sun, who owns the sea. The world we know will fall piece by piece. Face toward the sea, look to heaven up above. Felt the world revolve around me. No one could tell me otherwise, but the turbulent waters won't reflect this life. Only the sun, the moon and sky, and all illusion shattered. All illusion shattered. Money's only paper, only ink. We'll destroy ourselves if we can't agree. How the world turns, who made the sun, who owns the sea. The world we know will fall piece by piece. Money's only paper, only ink. Money's only paper, only ink. Money's only paper, only ink. Money's only paper, only ink.
That was gorgeous. If you'd like to, feel free to stand up and stretch for a sec. So years ago, one of my mentors told this story. Fresh out of seminary, young and idealistic, he had gone off to Vietnam as a chaplain from the Southern Baptist tradition. And in his experience in the jungle led to what he called two crises of faith. The first one was in his government, and the second one was in his God. He got back from Vietnam in 1968 and left the Southern Baptist and became a Unitarian Universalist minister, where he immediately began preaching against the Vietnam War. And sure enough, he said, by 1975, the war was over. And he pointed his finger at me and he said, "Never underestimate the power of preaching." So I think my goal today is not quite maybe taking down the entire global capitalist system, even though both my own children feel strongly that nothing short of that is necessary. And they're not alone in feeling that. I learned recently that across the entire age and political spectrum, Something like 90% of everyone feels like there is something very, very wrong with the world right now. And young people are increasingly feeling that capitalism itself is a huge part of the problem. The root cause of environmental devastation and all the myriad injustices of an entrenched and massive disparity in wealth and opportunity. So I've been looking at this partially because I think there's real value, and I mean like real value as in wholesome and healthy and spiritual value in questioning capitalism. Just like I think there is wholesome, healthy, spiritual value in questioning anything that is so central to our lives and to the lives of every living thing. So I'm going to start with a definition, courtesy of Britannica.com. It says this: ideology, a system of ideas that aspires both to explain the world and to change it. A system of ideas that aspires both to explain the world and to change it. Now note that that definition does not include the word facts or knowledge or truth. An ideology is a system of ideas, nothing more. And as we know, ideas are very powerful things. As we talked about roughly a month ago, confirmation bias is real. And pre-existing ideologies become filters for perception and truth. They literally shape the reality we believe we are living in and create blinders towards other truths and other perspectives. Capitalism is an ideology. It's the water we swim in. So deeply ingrained and pervasive, it's almost impossible to even see an alternative. In fact, philosophers Frederick Jameson and Slavoj Žižek once wrote, "It's easier to imagine the end of the world than it is to imagine the end of capitalism." Which feels true to me, at least. I don't know about you. We are driven in this world by ideologies. This country just voted into power a group of people who have stated their intention to roll back or eliminate labor protections, environmental protections, and the financial regulations that were specifically designed to avoid the next financial crisis. They want to do this all in the name of their ideology. So here's my trajectory for the next 15 minutes or so. I'm going to make a case that the ideology of capitalism is essentially a religion. And second, I'm going to then look at the qualities of religion, and I'm going to consider what qualities might make a religion evil, and what qualities, and I'm going to finish by proposing some qualities that keep religion in the realm of actually being beneficial, to children and other living things. So in his brilliant essay called "The Market as God," theologian Harvey Cox wrote this: "The lexicon of the Wall Street Journal and the business sections of Time and Newsweek bear a striking resemblance to Genesis, the Epistle to the Romans, and St. Augustine's City of God. Beyond descriptions of market reforms, monetary policy, and the convolutions of the Tao, I gradually made out the pieces of a grand narrative about the inner meaning of human history and why things had gone wrong and how to put them right. Theologians call these myths of origin, legends of the fall, doctrines of sin and redemption. But here they were again, and only in thin disguise. Chronicles about the creation of wealth, the seductive temptations of statism, captivity to faceless economic cycles, and ultimately salvation through the advent of free markets. Harvey Cox is not being sarcastic here. Consider some of the countless ways in which our cultural treatment of capitalism encourages unquestioning belief while simultaneously discouraging any critical thinking or facts. The market, and that's market with a capital M, is treated as a kind of mystical, magical, omnipotent, omnipresent deity. And isn't it true the market has its own functional priesthood? And aren't the true believers, the practitioners and priests of capitalism, rewarded with political appointments and exorbitant compensation packages, or both? I could compellingly argue that the president-elect has successfully branded himself as the chief acolyte of the omniscient market, and that's what people think they voted for. In capitalist theology, the market, again capital M, is treated as this sort of mythological pinnacle of freedom. It's believed that when the market is protected, all other freedoms and goodness will flow from it. That's the ideology we're talking about. And isn't it interesting? If you start with that theological system, then evil can be identified very easily. Evil is anything that regulates or taxes or redistributes wealth or creates antitrust laws. And all of this is believed, unquestionably assumed by millions of otherwise thoughtful people, despite all the evidence that the market is really only free for those who already create great wealth, who already have great wealth, despite all the evidence that the market is rigged at every level, despite all the evidence that the major players are essentially operating a corporate cartel with the willing assistance of both political parties and all three branches of government. Despite the historical fact that the original literal capital, that is, the original wealth around which American capitalism was created and evolved, was from stolen land and stolen lives. The genocide of indigenous people on this continent, the taking of that land by force, and the millions of African people enslaved here. Centuries of unspeakable suffering. I've said many times, I firmly believe the greatest con ever initiated is over the last 70, 80 years or so, convincing millions of otherwise intelligent people that what's good for the very wealthy is somehow magically good for all the rest of us. So right here, right now, in 2025, I invite you to look at capitalism through this lens of capitalism being a religion. Think of how we're all inundated, saturated with advertising. And isn't there an underlying message, a sort of unspoken subtext, a hidden assumption in all that advertising that shopping and spending, that's what gives meaning to our lives? Isn't that the underlying message? Far beyond our basic needs for food or clothing or shelter, isn't the whole culture of shopping presented to us as kind of a sacrament? Something we should sacrifice for? Remember the financial crisis of 2008 when the President of the United States, George W. Bush, told us the best thing we could do right then was go shopping. I'm not making that up. And not to waste a good metaphor, isn't it true that just like ancient religions, doesn't the worship of market capitalism even include human sacrifice? Isn't it assumed, and isn't it just true, that just below the glittery surface of things, the whole capitalist show is dependent on human misery and environmental destruction? Both of which are willingly, even gladly, sacrificed to the God of the market and the attendant angels of growth and prosperity. So if the ideology of capitalism is indistinguishable from a religion, which to me it patently is indistinguishable, let's look at some of the qualities of religion. And I'm going to use Charles Kimball's fine book called When Religion Becomes Evil. And in that book, he lists 5 characteristics or red flags that identify bad religion, or when religion becomes tending towards the evil. First, he says, any claim of absolute truth is an indication of the potential for evil. And while he allows that almost all religions do this to some extent, there is a huge variance on the continuum, but the more rigid and unquestioning the system, the more likely it is to become evil. Second, he says, is an insistence on blind obedience. Not every religion or cult that claims absolute truth and insists on obedience will turn evil, but insisting on obedience is the next step along the pathway, an indication that the potential for evil has gone up. The third indication that a religion is heading towards evil is when it becomes consumed with some ideal time that is to take place in the future. Maybe in the future kingdom of heaven, or maybe after the apocalypse, or maybe when we make America great again. Kimball ends that chapter by saying, I quote, "Beware of people and groups whose political blueprint is based on a mandate from God that depends on human beings to implement." And just as a thought experiment, I'm going to quote that again, and I'm going to make one little tiny substitution. Beware of people and groups whose political blueprint is based on a mandate from the market that requires human beings to implement. Fourth characteristic of religion turning towards evil is when people come to believe that the end is so important that any means are justified. Now, in my observation, that is the root of every argument I have ever heard against universal health care. It might impinge on the market. And because of that, it doesn't matter how many people die or suffer for lack of adequate treatment. It might impinge on the market. It's the same reasoning that makes affordable housing and anti-poverty programs almost impossible. It's the same reasoning that makes a college education almost entirely out of reach for most young people and thoroughly squashes just about every other idea that might put people over someone's profit. Now, the last indicator that Kimball gives for religion gone evil is the declaration of a holy war. And if you've been paying attention, and I hope you have, if you've been paying attention, you know that this is precisely, and I mean word for word, the kind of language Christian nationalists use to describe what they believe they are up against. When it comes to liberal judges or Democrats or secular humanists or feminists or pagans or DEI or critical race theory or trans people or whoever else they decide or identify as having a viewpoint different from their own. The people who are saying this are precisely, like literally the same people the president-elect is listening to and counting on for support. I'll take any opportunity to make this quote from Voltaire. Those who can persuade you to believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities. So my own definition of bad religion is actually far simpler. I think any religious system that creates an us and a them, either implicitly or explicitly, and does this in any kind of ultimate spiritual or ultimate sense, automatically qualifies as bad religion. If your religion starts here, with one group of people more inherently better, holier, more favored, or otherwise unequal to some other group, you have already and automatically started down a road that will lead you where no truly religious person would ever want to go. So what's good religion? How would we know it if we saw it? I'm so glad you asked. Here is my own unapologetic take on my own religious ideology. I think any good religion, recognizes at the start, at the very foundation, that all of us and everything are born into a kind of a covenant with each other and with the earth. Just by virtue of being alive, we are inextricably, inescapably bound, deeply related in body and spirit, literally, symbolically, physically, spiritually woven into the fabric of something infinitely larger than ourselves. And so is everyone else. To me, it just starts there. There's a unity that makes us one. And because that is true, good religion firmly and lovingly holds us accountable for who we are and what we do. Because it matters. Because we're connected. There's no isolated anything. Good religion reminds us that actions and ideologies have consequences, and so awareness is essential, and because our awareness is never complete, humility is not a character flaw, but a virtue. Amen? In fact, humility may be the highest virtue of all when it comes to living peacefully in a diverse human and non-human global community. I think good religion puts very little emphasis on absolute truth and puts a whole lot of emphasis on religious questions. Like, what are the roots of caring and love in an inherently competitive world? What are the roots of caring and love in a world that's competitive? Questions like, where do we find models of love and compassion that are not exploitation? That are not just symbolic? How do I go about being me in this world in a way that leaves you free to be you? I think good religion just keeps asking those questions, even when the answers aren't obvious, because questions like those keep the focus here in this life, in this world. Good religion doesn't waste much energy worrying about some unknown afterlife. The stakes are too high right here. I think good religion stays grounded in reality. I think religion, I've said this before, when religion is doing its job, it helps us live in right relationship to reality. All of it. Dedicated to the truth, deeply suspicious of wishful thinking, it does not rely on mere passion or ideologies over the obvious facts in front of us. Good religion does not ask us to turn off our brains in order to accept some absurdity about God or heaven or hell or the will of God or anything else about which we frankly know diddly squat. Good religion doesn't tell us that our bodies are inherently sinful, our desires inherently bad, our pleasures not equally as full of grace as our toil, our love any less worthy because of who might receive it. I think good religion is able to sing praises. Good religion is comfortable in blessing what is worthy and what is good. Good religion is brave enough to name evil for what it is. And good religion is willing to sacrifice for the sake of love and justice, because good religion knows we're all in this together. Not just you and me either, right? But the birds of the air, the animals in the field, the fungi in the soil, the quality of the air we breathe. We're all in this together. I think good religion arises. Good religion arises from a deep knowing that it is love, and it's only love that sustains us. And good religion knows that the first and primary prerequisite necessity for love is respect. Good religion reminds us and gives us hope that this is possible. That's the ideology I want to aim for. That's the ideology I believe this congregation stands for. Thank you.
Please stand in body or in spirit and join us in singing Spirit of Life, page 123, or on the screen. Spirit of life, come unto me, sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion, blow in the wind, rise in the sea, life, the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. And join us in singing our closing affirmation. Behind all our differences and beneath our diversity, there is a unity that makes us one and binds us forever together throughout all time, through life and death and the space between the stars, throughout all time, through life and death and the space between the stars.
Friends, in a round world, what goes around comes around. Circles and cycles of stars, seasons of growth and decay, birth and death, and unexpected resurrection. You and I and we are inextricably connected to all that is and was and ever will be. Amen. Go in peace.